Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Foot Down Friday the 14th of August. Hope everybody is well. Going to start today. I just wanted to update where I am with the CX and how I feel about the CX. I'm sure, I can't believe it's just me, but I'm sure all of you guys and girls now every morning when you log on get this trusted login appear and stick your face in the frame and away you go. It takes all of about 10 seconds, no drama. I've got no idea what that is meant to do or if it's having any effect in stopping people working the CX. Seems a bit weird that you also get an option that you've got 6 days and so many hours to do it, but when you can just do it every morning. But anyway, there we go. That's that. I'm sure someone someday will tell us if that's having an effect. I wanted to mention also the load wallets. Now they're appearing a little bit more often now, which again, I don't have a problem with it. I've got nothing to hide, nothing to be scared of, so I do it. But what I would like the CX to do, I call these attributes. You know, when you get a job offer and it says it's new, smart pay, charges, all sorts of things. Could we have one that says load pass? The reason being, I don't know about you guys and girls, but when I accepted a job, if a job comes over and I accept it, I start making my way straight away. So for example, if I'm in Coventry and there's a pickup in Lutterworth, I'm off pretty much before the job details come through. Sometimes they come through straight away, sometimes it takes a few minutes. And then it's frustrating if you've started your journey and it says you need to do a load pass to get the rest of the details, and you're then either got to mess around with your phone while you're driving, which we don't want to do, or you've got to park up and do it. So if they put load pass in the attributes, then you know to wait before the job, so the job comes over before you start disappearing. Also as well, it might put 1 or 2 people off actually bidding on jobs. I don't know, we'll have a go. The load wallet or load pass itself, I think I've had about 8 in the last couple of months, and when I've gone on site to collection, I've asked the warehouse staff, do you want to see my load wallet, which normally shows a blank look. The only one that does anything about it is if you do a job for Coney Express out of their client in Haverhill. They won't ask to see the load, well, they haven't asked me to see the load pass, but sorry, there's a great big branch sitting down which I've just whacked on the top of the van. Yeah, but they'll ask to see your app and make sure you've got a live app. I was in there recently and they sent a guy back to his van to go and get it. So again, I have no idea if this is having an effect or not. The other thing I would like to see on the attributes is medical. I watched a video from the CX, I think it was on LinkedIn. Not sure why I'm still on LinkedIn, but I am anyway. And it was just talking about the benefits of using the Courier Exchange and its wonderful drivers to move medical goods around, which I think we all agree with. But the shippers, when they get a job off a medical customer, whether it be a hospital or hospital trust, clinic, I'm sure they charge a premium for it. But because us as owner drivers, we've got absolutely no idea sometimes that it is a medical job. There are now some, perhaps the shipper gives it away. There's one shipper in particular that they only just seem to do medical jobs, and obviously sometimes postcode to postcode gives you a clue. But I did one a few weeks ago now, and it was a straightforward normal pickup, 4 boxes, medical equipment, but the delivery was to the National Orthopaedic Hospital in northwest London. And same old problem, you get there. I was looking for the stores. I normally aim for stores, that's where I normally leave my van, but I couldn't actually find the stores itself. And I could be like Tommy Courier Service, of course, who just leaves his outside the drop off for the ambulances at an accident emergency. And yeah, so there was a problem parking, and then on top of that, once I did find somewhere I thought was okay to park, I then had the issue of actually finding the theatre stores, which is where these boxes had to go. Took a little bit of time, asked a few people and pointed me in different directions, but we found it eventually. And then I went back to the van, picked up the 4 boxes on my sack barrow and got them delivered. But I think that deserves a little bit extra money for the time and effort. So I think I'd like to see anything that's a medical job have a medical attribute. As for CX generally, I'm okay with it at the moment. I've tried desperately where I can to increase my charges, I should say, and try and get more money for jobs. And to some extent, some of it seems to be working. I've been quite pleased with some of the prices that I've got on jobs. A couple of things. It could be that feedback, obviously my feedback is 100%. So that helps. I know when I spoke to shippers at the CX event back at Milton Keynes, shippers I've never worked with or likely to work with, but they all said feedback's important. Dave Saintsman, he mentioned in his video the other week that how important feedback is, and that's helping him. And because James at Freddie Fletcher, he talks about it when he's issuing a job, and Emma does as well with the courier journals. So that's one thing. The other thing, I think my pricing thought process changed slightly with Emma's podcast. She talked about 70-30. So I think I got this right. If, for example, a job is, and I'm trying to think of a good example, a job, let's say, is £140, the split will be 70-30. So 70% of that will go to the owner driver and the shipper will keep 30%. I always thought, obviously wrongly maybe, perhaps shippers just went with a set amount, £25 a job, £30 a job, maybe a bit more on bigger jobs. So that's changed slightly my thought process when quoting on jobs. I've done a few jobs in the past where I've known what the customer is paying and against what the shipper is paying me. A couple of times I've known people that I've collected from and they've told me, and a couple of times it's been on the paperwork, but because on the paperwork the person paying for it may have added a little, or putting that amount in, may have added a few quid on extra themselves, who knows. But I think that 70-30 thing has given me a slightly better thought process when quoting on jobs. But generally at the moment, yeah, I think the CX is okay. I don't know whether drivers have dropped off it because of the trusted things. No idea. So yeah, we'll see. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with it. Right, on to today. It was a weird yesterday afternoon. There was lots of jobs coming out of Colchester and the surrounding areas, but they were all long jobs. There was one to Carlisle, one up to Scotland, 2 jobs, one from Colchester and one from Malden going to Hull. There was a job to Grimsby, there was a job to Aberdare in South Wales. None of these jobs really I wanted to do. I just doesn't really suit me, and I didn't see much point in being empty in South Wales at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. So I left them all alone. Other than that, it seemed a little bit quiet, but there was a job finally popped up. That was around 5 o'clock, and that was going from Braintree at 8:30 this morning. Large van, 85 miles, going to Cobham in Surrey, one of the big independent schools. Put a price of £120 on that and got a phone call fairly quickly. Excuse me, this is actually the 3rd time I recorded this video because it keeps cutting out because the iPhone's getting too hot, so my voice is going. Anyway, so that was for 8:30 this morning. Also, it was good on the job notes. He told me what the load was: a 3.1 metre pallet, 1.2 wide of sheets. That was a big help because it gave me also an indication as to the client was, or the collection point was, which was correct. I knew they opened at 7:30, so I made my way down there for 7:45 this morning, and I was loaded straight away off site 7:55. Got on site in Cobham at 10:40. Had a contact on site, but he wouldn't answer his phone, just went to voicemail. The security there were helpful. I spoke to people in facilities, so they sent me down to that. When I got there, they decided it had to go somewhere else, and then had to try and find someone who had a forklift, who could drive a forklift. Sorted it all out eventually, and I was off site a bit later than I would have liked, at 20 past 10. But because with large van jobs, you can always expect loading and unloading to take a little bit longer. Parked up outside in a nice cool shaded area looking for work. There was a job came up fairly quickly at about 10:40, and that was from Woking, 25 minutes away, going to Hertfordshire. Small van job. That was 51 miles. I put a price of £60 on it. Quite quickly that came up as sold, and then was reposted by the shipper with the statement pays £45. That was too low for me, so I left it alone. A couple of other jobs came up which I quoted on. There was a bit of work coming out of Heathrow Airport, which I was half an hour minimum away from, but there was lots of vans around Heathrow Airport, so I left them alone. The job I quoted on then appeared back again. This time it was saying load pays £50. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. So I put a quote on of £55 this time. £5 wasn't going to make a great difference to me, and the job, to be honest, would have taken me halfway home. I got a call straight away. Ironically, the people now said this really needs to be picked up by 12 o'clock. I think it was about 25 past 11. And I did feel like saying to them, well, if you'd rang me 40 minutes ago when I first quoted on it at 60 quid, I would have picked it up by now. But anyway, we keep our mouth shut. Accepted the job, made our way, got there at 11:55, off site at 12, and I got to the delivery point around about 20 past 1, and away there 25 past 1. It was just 2 small flight cases of audio equipment. Parked up again, trying to see if I got a third job. I wasn't going to be overly bothered. I sort of hit my target for the day, but and I'm on my way home-ish in Hertford. But another job did come up from Royston. That was 25 minutes, 30 minutes away, and that was going to Sudbury, which is taking me towards home. Mileage-wise on that was, he said, trying to remember desperately and calm. Oh, 44 miles. I did write it down. 44 miles. Put a price of 65 on that. I thought, can't see too many people in the Royston area when I had a quick look, and I don't think too many people will probably want to go to Sudbury on a Friday afternoon. Got a phone call straight away. So that was good. Yeah, so 3 jobs today. 120. 55 and 65, so that makes a lovely round total of 240. So that is a good day for me. The other thing I just meant to say, just going back to the CX, one of the things as well, I've mentioned this in the past, I've cut down my customer list. I don't work with anyone on 45 days or 60 days, so my customer list now is actually a lot smaller, but I think that works in my favour because I do more jobs for these shippers now, and because my feedback is good and I get a good service, they're more likely to ring me. I've always had one exception to the rule. I was in Tail, can't remember that, the other side of Reading, looking for a job back, and there was a job came back from Reading going to Colchester, but it was for a company I hadn't worked for before, 45 days, but I put a decent price on it, got the job. I'll be honest with you, I was hoping to get the quick payment on creating the invoice, but that function wasn't there, so I just had to go with the full price and wait time. It was due for payment tomorrow, 15th of August. It was paid yesterday, so that was all good. Right, I think I'm done. 15 minutes, that's far too long. Yeah, have a lovely weekend. Got nothing much on this weekend. A couple of things the wife wants to do, so I'm running her around. I have just won a small job for Monday morning to get me started. So anyway, have a lovely weekend. I hope it all goes well for you guys and girls, and we'll go again on Monday. All the best. Cheers. Paul.